So preparing a meal for Winny. It starts with the oats. We take a teaspoonful of oats, just so much, and put it in a pan. And give some drops of water on it. Not too much, so just so that the oats are covered with water. And we put it aside on the oven and let it stand there and wait. Then we have to take some tuna, and it has to be nature, but I have no other anyway. From the tuna we take around 12 grams and put it aside. Now that we have 12 grams of tuna, we have to cut it into very little pieces. I cannot film this and cut the tuna at the same time, but you will manage. So now after the tuna has been cut, it looks like this, very little pieces. Okay. So we put this aside as well. And now we start to prepare the real meal. We take something like this, where we put in the 5 different sorts of meat. So these are the 5 sorts of meat that you get: kangaroo, duck, lachs, don't know what lachs is in English. What is this? Must be horse. And this is Hermetia, which is some sort of insect. And from each of the, and there is sorry, I forgot this. There is a 5th one, which is a special sort of kangaroo. So they are now 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And from one of these 6, she gets, say, 5 grams. Okay? So now we should have something around 30 to 32 grams of meat. We have met in the middle at 31. And this we have to make smaller pieces, because we cannot eat such big pieces, okay? So these pieces are now much smaller, but as they still came out from the fridge, we have to warm them. Not heat them, but warm them. At room temperature, about, don't know, 15 seconds or so in the microwave oven. We have to cover it. Then take it to the microwave. And I always let it turn 1.5 rotation. Okay, that's enough. If we take it out now and look, we can see it is warm, but not cooked. And we put the thing back on the scale. So it is still 31 grams. And now comes an important part. First she needs this enteroferment, which is a powder, and half a pill of this intestinal plus. This intestinal plus is a pill which you have to smash first before you give it over the food. From the enteroferment we take only a little, not a spoonful. The tip of a spoonful, and put it, it's so difficult to do this and film it at the same time. We put it over the food so that the food looks as if it was snowing. So that's enough. Now comes the other supplement, which is pills, but you take only half a pill. So I have half them all already, but you have to smash it in some way or the other. I do it in a little egg thing like this. I put it in, so it's in there. And then I have this thing with which I will smash it to a powder. Okay? So after you have stirred it, you also put this on top of the food. It's not much. Then she gets some splashes of this laxhanf oil, okay? This is only very little. Just like this. What I forgot to tell you is that she also gets some apple, don't know, scratched to little pieces on this thing, which you know for sure. I cannot film this, but I do it now. And with every meal she gets approximately 15 grams of this apple. But you can smash the apples before in a greater amount and pull it into little things, because the apple should be brown when you put it on the meal, which will not be possible now, but I will try. So now back to the oats. We turn the oven on and wait until the oats are starting to cook a little, not too much. So we take our wooden spoon, and when the oats start to cook, we stir around a little. So now after 1 or 2 minutes the oats start to cook, and we start to stir around and wait until the water has disappeared. It shouldn't be too much water in the end result, but it should also not be completely dry. So that's the art of when to put the oats off the oven. When the water is away, but the oats are still there. It should be some sort of slime, if you know what I mean. Because that's good for her stomach, to protect her stomach. These are all tricks that I learned from our vet, and she knows a lot about this, and so far nothing failed. There is still some water in the oats, and we stir as long as there is no water, no steam coming up anymore, only the oats are left. Which is in a few seconds, I think. So now that's looking good. So we can put it away from the oven and stir a little more in order to be able to put it on her food. So that is approximately how it looks in the end result. I think I got a little too less oats, but that is no problem. I put that now together and on her food. So I put the oats on the food with a second spoon, so I can again not film it. So as I can see, I have got only 5 grams of oats, which is really very small portion, but you will get it together easily. Now we add the tuna, which we didn't forget. So the tuna was something like 10 grams or so. So now we have everything together, we just have to mix it. But since the scale in the meantime switched off, I only can see that we have grown from 5 grams oats to 17 grams, which means we have 12 grams tuna. So I just mix that now, and then we'll see how much it is all together. You just have to mix it very well, because otherwise she may sort out some things that she doesn't like, or it should be a very well mixed thing. So everything together, okay? So now this portion looks good, and I'm curious how much we have put together. So I have to switch on the scale again. So I put her plate from which she eats on the scale. Okay. I know it has 376 grams, so that doesn't help you much. So we tear it to 0. So now we have to arrange that on the plate so she can easily eat it from the table, from the dish. Teller. Like this. It's likely that she will eat only half of it, which then will look like the upper part is left over and the lower part she has eaten. Normally she eats only half. Sometimes she eats more. If she leaves something over, you just take with the spoon. You can make a full spoon like this and make a bowl out of it and put it on her tablecloth, which I will show you later, and then she will pick it up from there, and you do that with all the rest until all the food is gone. Okay, so I see we have got 61 grams, which is quite a good measure for a normal portion. taking into account that she will get some treats anyway afterwards. So in the end, with some treats, you will be at 66 to 70 grams for the meal, including the treats, and that's just the right portion. So if there is still some little things left on the dish, you can put it together with your fingers, with one finger, until nothing or not much is left on the dish. And you have it on the finger and you give it, and she will lick it off your finger. So that is it. I have put it into a plastic jar, so you can just take it out and warm it up, and so you have no work with her first meal. Only afterwards it will start to become work. Okay, thank you very much.